This is a horror game podcast. It is meant for mature audiences. It may contain adult language, violence, and sexual themes, as well as shocking revelations. Viewer discretion is advised. Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Thom Raley. The scenario is Alabaster Amphora. It was written by Sean Liddle, who is also our keeper of arcane lore, and this is episode 4. Our recap will be given by David Shiflett as his character, Dame Agatha Wyndham. So, without any further delays, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Dave?
Thank you, Tom. Should I say thank you, Tom? I am Lady Dame Agatha Wyndham of Ashbury Courts, and I have been enjoying my cruise along the Nile River very much. Unfortunately, all of my friends who said that they would go with me decided to abscond at the last moment, so I embarked alone. But we have many new friends, and I have met some very interesting people, such as Miss Wyndham's Indram Smith, and yes, my little dog Pum Pum, and there's some other nice boys there. All of the porters seem to be quite nice, and there's even a man named Mr. Ptolemy, who I think would make my husband very jealous if he knew what he was saying to me. But there have been some dark deeds aboard this vessel, and I don't think that this is all going to fly well when the authorities back in England hear about this. In fact, I think there'll be a book about it. Well, I think I've already seen the first chapters of that book, and I'm quite upset they left me out as a character. But Ashbury Manor seems to have a mention. Oh, but it has been a long couple of days aboard this vessel. Last night there were strange sounds, but I fell asleep outside after one too many trips to the refreshments, and many bottles of clear tea were consumed with the detective, Mr. Langley. Well, he told us such interesting things, like the fact that he isn't really a detective after all. He's, well, I don't know what to call him. A stooge? I don't mean to be rude, but it seems he's really the assistant in this investigation. And Mr. Faisal seems to be the one who's the real detective. Well, there has been a murder. Some nasty young man, Mr. Lawrence, has been killed, and we still don't know who's done it. Someone jumped off the boat to their deaths and was bitten by a crocodile but didn't die. Well, these things happen in Egypt, so I've read in National Geographic. I'm sure this is all very normal, and tomorrow we'll be going to shore to see the bazaar. I can't wait to have them send a stuffed crocodile back to the manor as a souvenir. I just hope Mr. Ptolemy was joking when he said that his medicine includes mummy's dust. I'm sure I misheard him, but he seemed so excited. But could they really be worshipping mummies and crocodiles and Sobeks, whatever those are? I don't know. And I'm starting to fear that I may never return to England.
You. All right. You're still in the breakfast room.
Hmm.
Mr. Ptolemy and Faisal have left. It's
So I
morning.
just left.
And we're going to the thing this afternoon. Is that correct?
It's supposed to be arriving for the tenders. You'll stop the ship. The tenders will come out to the boat and take you off to go to shore around 2:30, 3 o'clock. The captain is going to try to push the speed a little bit, but
Hmm.
he can only do what he can do.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm thinking about some of this. We got Ptolemy, who looks younger than he should.
He looked amazing.
He's very handsy.
He seems to be rather free with his invitations, but Mr. Faisal is not really happy that he's so chatty. Does it come across that way to you?
Yeah. Which I thought was strange. I thought that Ptolemy was Faisal's employer.
Yeah. Um, Seems almost more like a partnership than a, employer employee.
Hmm.
Faisal seems to be some sort of medical provider, herbal provider of some sort to him,
And yet he's
which
supposed to
again
just be an author.
complicates the employer-employee dynamic. Is that really what's happening here, or is he providing some type of treatment?
I definitely get the sense that Mr. Ptolemy is in charge of both of them. But it's so strange. Do you think Mr. Lawrence's room is still unguarded at the moment?
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Probably.
I don't remember. I didn't have my spectacles, but uh, his correspondences, I don't think he ever mentioned selling the vessel to Mr. Ptolemy specifically, but we didn't know Mr. Ptolemy's name until after we searched his room.
True.
So maybe I missed something, and my eyes at this age.
There were
Well,
a
we
lot of
certainly
names.
can go back
Just-
and take a look.
Because I wonder something that you said earlier, Mr. Robinson, the $20,000 that was hoping to be made on the sale, was that too much to ask? And that could be the motive of a murder.
The problem is none of us saw the Alabaster Amphora, the marble thing. So it's too much to ask if it's worthless. It's not too much to ask if it's priceless. I don't know.
Well, it's interesting in this chapter that I saw in Lawrence's room said that the vessel in their story was priceless, so maybe it really was priceless.
In which case, it also sounds like he was trying to get rid of it.
That's very true.
Like he had something that somebody was going to be looking for. Now, I am not unaccustomed to smuggling, and that sort of stuff does happen all the time here. So,
But what are the black sands and the paper in his mouth? I
I don't
mean,
know.
I didn't have my glasses when I read it, but it almost seemed like the Black Sands. It seems like Faisal knows too much about the Black Sands. It's almost like he's not surprised at all about any of this. I don't know if maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but he seems so knowledgeable.
Did you say Black Sands at the table while you're in the kitchen, you're in the dining area still, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you said Black Sands. one of the porters comes over to you, and he's one of the older porters, not the young ones.
Right.
And he says, I heard you mention the Black Sands.
Oh, yes,
Are you in? What do you know of them?
it's from a book.
Mm. In addition to what the esteemed lady mentions, the fellow who was killed, Lawrence, I suspect that it might have been the Black Sands who were responsible. There was a slip of paper in the corpse's mouth, you see, with this emblem on it.
Do you have this paper still, or could you describe it? And he shoos away a younger porter, and he's a little more mature than the rest. He says, because I may have some information for you.
2 daggers with
Yes. It's 2 entwined bladed weapons, one facing up and the other facing down.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
a bit like this, which
Yes.
yeah, familiar.
That is very familiar. I do believe you should be very careful around these people. My brother, and he looks around, says, my brother at one time was running with the Black Sands as a courier. And I will tell you, they are everywhere and they're nowhere, but they are very dangerous. They can be. They work for very, very wealthy people. Very wealthy.
And where is your brother now, young man?
My brother has passed away, I'm sorry, in a traffic accident.
The Black Sands hit him with an automobile.
Oh, no. I would not say that. This occurred when he was traveling for work. He was actual work, not the work he was doing for them.
Right.
A vehicle crashed into his delivery truck.
Is there some way that we could, I mean, if we were to avoid these people, is there some way that we could recognize them so we could know to stay away? Sometimes gangs, they have like uniform items, like, we wear a green scarf or
a tattoo.
They do when they are working. They do tend to wear black bandanas.
Do they do they pray to Sobek by any chance?
He laughs. Oh, those gods are ancient. Those are weird. The ancient heretical beasts.
Yes, so silly.
So they're a smuggler group that rich people hire to steal things.
Yes, the wealthy, to steal our artifacts. As you know, our new leaders, they're preventing this from happening as best they can, but the Black Sands still exists, and wealthy persons from France and England, I'm sorry, and from America. And elsewhere, they hire these groups to steal from. I have another uncle who works security at some of the digs, and he's certainly, he has a hard time preventing them from accessing. They have to be very careful who they hire.
Thank you.
Very kind of you to warn us.
Be very careful. Be very careful.
So there is a backwards trail.
I'll make sure to give him a tip of like a dime.
There's got to be a backwards trail. Let's assume for a moment that Lawrence had this marble amphora or whatever it is. He had it. He had stolen it. He was trying to sell it because he probably figured he couldn't manage to get it out of the country without getting caught. But that means that if the Black Sands knew it was here, then they had to be following him. They followed him before he ever got on the boat and planned this whole thing out. Otherwise, how would they even know that such a thing was here on the ship? They couldn't just randomly try something. This seemed like it was planned.
Yeah.
And then we've got 1 or 2 people to meet Demetrius and Faisal who, whether they knew it or not, would probably be interested in exactly the same thing.
Yes, I wonder how they all came to be on the same boat that had very limited tickets that we all just so happened to also buy on this cruise together
Seems like the
today.
object is surrounded by people who want it. The
Hmm.
fact that they were all on board this ship means that they had to know that it was here. And they've got to have orchestrated it. There is a trunk in
And it could be
Ptolemy's room.
it could be explained by Mr. Ptolemy knowing that this would happen somehow. Maybe it's not so strange. Maybe Mr. Ptolemy is just very smart and capable, and for some reason he wanted to do these things. It might not be that strange, but it seems strange because he wanted it to be. He
Well,
seems to be the puppet master.
Faisal seems like the puppet master.
if Lawrence was trying to get away, why is he going on this boat this direction?
That's true.
You know,
I feel like the
and
more we think about it, the harder it is to come up with a solution.
I think it
yeah,
was.
I'm hoping though that it clicks and we suddenly realize how it all falls together. Um,
Why would he be coming?
I think he was returning something.
then why would he be selling it?
Maybe not that. Maybe not the Amphora, but something else he could have been returning.
Possibly.
Maybe whatever was
Oh.
hidden in the false bottom? I want to ask Mr. Ptolemy when I see him about the false bottom. In fact, don't we still have that book? I think I gave it to Miss Smith. The one with the records from Lawrence. It had the drawing of the amphora.
Hmm.
You
I
know,
want to show that to Ptolemy.
Dame Agatha, I think you need to be a little careful around that fellow. What was all that he was whispering to you? He really seemed to be
Mm.
interested. He might be a nefarious character.
Such things. He promised me a crocodile skin bathrobe, and he said he could get anything I desired at the bazaar, but I, of course, told him I had a husband. But he did say the ingredients to his treatments. I agree, though. I don't know if I trust him when he said that his treatments were simply drinking these herbs with a little mixture of mummy's dust. That sounds like witchery to me. I can't imagine such things would cause you to moan so much, such as we heard last night. Even while Faisal was busy talking to us, what would make Mr. Ptolemy moan so much?
Or
I don't
maybe
know, but
maybe the treatments are somewhat painful and they upset his stomach.
He seems happy now.
Yeah, but
but
he's on the other
mummy's
side.
dust. I mean, that was something that went around like in the turn of the century. You know,
Maybe he was just
eating-
kidding. Maybe he was telling a story. That's what he said.
That's just a particular mummy.
Well, he seemed to be trying to get me to try it, and considering it looks like it could knock a few wrinkles off, I might be inclined to take him up on the offer.
You
But
wouldn't
if
need
it's
those
painful,
glasses.
if it's painful, I don't think I will.
It seems to have awoken his libido also the way he was acting toward you.
Well, I shan't give any to my husband then.
I mean, considering how good he looks and the fact that he is an ancient 67 years old.
Practically dead.
Doesn't look a day over 90.
It's got to be something more. Or hell, he's discovered the elixir of life and, he could sell that to, people around the world for a cosmetic of some sort. I don't know. This all seems so bizarre.
If he
Maybe
had
we-
that, he...
But I was thinking
I'm
that.
thinking that.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
keep starting.
I know. I'll go first.
I bet you that amphora is still on this ship.
I bet it is too. I think the amphora's got the so-called mummy dust, which I doubt is actual mummy, and that's why it was worth so much. I mean, if it's medicine that can make you young, I mean, what would you not pay to go back to be able to be back to your youth? I mean,
Oh, to be a girl again.
Mhm.
I think maybe they will be selling it when we get to shore. It's in the trunk and there's something in the false bottom. But are they planning on having us stand in a different room while they make the sale, or are we getting to witness some illegal activity? What are they planning on doing? Are they going to sneak away to make the deal? What's the plan?
maybe we should look at a map of where we're going so we know if they're leading us to where we're supposed to be going.
Excellent
Probably the
idea.
King's Ears. The Nile only goes in one
Yeah, it's
direction.
south,
Yeah.
north to south.
But we're taking a trip, right?
Well, yeah, once you get to um, the name of the city,
Yeah.
you'll be traveling to the Valley of the Kings, which is outside of the city a bit to the
That's
east.
that's the map I was wanting to see. The
The
land route
itinerary.
we were going to take, not the ship trip.
Mhm.
I don't think that there is probably a road because
Mm.
it's like out in the middle of an odd part of the desert. That's why they didn't find it for so long.
Mm.
Uh,
This one really need a road in the desert.
no, yeah, right. It's just going to be tracks of a car or a jeep.
Or camels.
But
All terrain in the desert, after all.
Camels are all-terrain vehicles.
I think Dame Agatha is correct. We should take a look once again in Lawrence's room and see if we can find any more interesting things. Who would like to do that? I'll go with you, Dame Agatha.
Mm.
She sneaks off, but she's really slow.
Shuffle,
Yeah,
shuffle,
I'll
shuffle.
I'll put you under. You hold your arm.
And,
Oh, thank
and as
you.
you're planning that, as you both stand and you're determined that this is going to happen, you hear from the deck a yell, a very loud yell, like, and a crash of something crashing metallic, and glass to the ground. And you hear a man with yelling. It sounds like it's Ptolemy. It's Ptolemy. Mr. Ptolemy. He's yelling. He says, "What are you doing in here? Get out of here. You do not belong here. You do not have permission to be in here."
Going to grab a knife off of the table, and even if it is just a butter knife, and go toward where
chair.
yelling's coming from.
Yeah, I want to see who this altercation involves.
On the deck.
Follow behind the gentleman.
Yeah, and I've already got Dame Agatha's arm, so I'm not going to like run off.
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
Say, did you hear something?
Oh yeah, and there's some porters are running like they're kind of milling, getting in the way too. But when you get out the door of the eating area, the mess, so to speak, to your right, down where the rooms are on this side of the ship, you see Ptolemy with a cane in his hand, threatening a poor, like there's only a few female workers on the ship, and they are maids. And they stay away from the men. They stay away from apart from cleaning your rooms. And she's standing outside of Ptolemy's room, and she just, "I am only cleaning. I was only cleaning." And he's waving a cane at her. And on the ground, you see that he's pushed over this tiny little cart that she was carrying, and it had like cleaning supplies and things. And he's pushed it over, and things have slid off to the edge of the deck, like not off the ship or anything, because there's a lip to prevent that. He goes, "You never enter here unless we give you permission. Do you hear?" He's waving the cane at her, and he looks just angry. Like he looked so friendly moments before, and now he looks furiously angry. And as you look at his face, it's like it's just anger, like pure anger.
Mm-hmm. I'll yell out. I'm like going, "Hey, good sir, remember your manners. That's a woman you're threatening with that cane."
Looks at you and he looks around. He growls like angry, like, "Argh." And he storms off just to the cap towards where the the main, the main area of the bridge where the captain would be.
Mm.
And Faisal's there going, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. He's helping her stand up, and the porters are coming around as well. And Faisal, in the midst of helping her stand up, he reaches back and shuts the door to his room.
I'm also going to go towards the woman. Are you all right, man?
I'm so sorry. I did not know. I did not know the rules. I've been put on this side of the ship for the day. I usually do the other side of the ship. I changed locations. I did not know his room was not to be cleaned. I'm so sorry.
So no, it's quite all right. I'm so sorry that you had that altercation.
Well, she's
Just
crying.
gonna, yeah, I'm just kind of comfort her and maybe pull her off to the side a little bit.
Yeah, she's crying. She's upset. She's quick trying to pick up the things and straighten up the cart and pick up the things on, and some of the porters are helping her as well. But now Faisal's like, I am so sorry. He's very sensitive about his personal belongings. I am so sorry, but we cannot. We clean the room ourselves. You do not clean our room. It is fine.
Yeah. So he always had such a short temper? I could understand.
I've only known him for a very short period of time. And Langley comes wandering out of nowhere. Oh, what's going on today? Is it breakfast yet? Oh, what's happened?
Have another mystery for you to solve, Langley. It's the mystery of what happened to. There's a missing butter knife in the mess. You could go.
Faisal whispers in Langley. Langley says, "Oh, I'll go on." And Langley wanders off towards the bridge where Ptolemy's gone, and Faisal goes, "No, no, 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 no," and Ptolemy goes, "You take care of the lady and take care of her room." And Faisal switches places with him.
Dame Agatha and I, instead of coming to that, we went to Lawrence's room like we were going to do.
Easy, and nobody's there. Like nobody's on that side of the ship. So there you go. You were in front of the room.
All right. Is the door locked?
No.
Okay, I'll open it up. See,
As
let's
we're
come
going
inside.
in, I whisper that there's still something that's bothering me from the very first day. Was I saw someone trying to break into this room, and we still do not know who that is. They may have answers about why they were trying to break in here. If there was nothing in here to steal, then why would they break in?
Yeah, there was definitely something in here.
No, I could recognize his uniform if I could find him.
It was probably one of the porters. You've probably come to that conclusion.
Right.
And there's a number of porters on the ship. Because you have so few customers right now, the staff outnumber the customers by a good number.
Yeah, she's a little forgetful of what.
A little.
So we come inside, and I close the door behind us, and I'm like, show me what you found, what you saw.
I'll show you the telegrams. I imagine there's like a messy pile of them.
It's all been straightened. It's all like the room has been cleaned, and his personal belongings have been straightened and placed on the desk, near the desk, on the chair, and his suitcase is packed so that they're ready to go when the ship gets to, its final destination. So everything's right there.
Someone's beat us to it.
Well, I'll go through everything. I'll try to put it back the way that it was, but
I'll
systematically go through everything.
I'll put on my reader spectacles and go through the telegrams and see if there were any sales for, or trying to make any sales for like $20,000, or any record of Ptolemy's name.
Okay. It'll take a while for you to go through like you have the journal already, his diary journal. So really just have a few telegrams. It won't take a lot of time. There are some notes and paper notes that are just scraps of paper that have been thrown together. And I will say that you do see in some of the notes, DT exclamation mark. You see that. And you don't see anything where there's no direct contact with Demetrius Ptolemy. Or no conversations, but there's definitely DT with an exclamation mark and a circle around it, to emphasize something about DT. And then definitely, then you see VO VOTK. And
Yes.
the name of the did I give you the name of the I did not give you the name of the temple, did I, that you will be visiting or you've been invited to visit?
No.
I think so.
Probably Dr. Gross will know, or Goss will know. He's got the invitation.
You just see Luxor. Luxor. It'll just say
Oh, okay.
Luxor Temple. Those are the words you find.
Yeah, I'll show the initials to
DP, not DT.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll show you the initials and say that at least this proves that Mr. Lawrence was aware of their involvement and probably aware that they were here.
Yeah. So he was trying to get some of us to evaluate the piece before he shows it to Ptolemy.
Hmm. But
But
you're right. Why would he be going towards the valley? Shouldn't he be
Yeah.
leaving?
And I'm kind of thinking, why pay for something when you can just steal it? Which I think your Mr. Ptolemy might be more nefarious than he's letting on.
Oh, certainly.
And he might have the means. Well, we know he has a collection of artifacts. So he probably has the means to smuggle it out of the country. There's certainly motive there. I'm not a policeman, but there's definitely a motive there. And pretending that you don't know anything about it, that's all part of it, isn't it? And an amphora could hold ashes or, I don't know, magic reverse aging dust or something. Is there anything else in here of importance, or shall we go back and
Just
enjoy
personal items. Just personal items.
join
There's
the
nothing.
others?
Yeah. It takes you about half an hour to go through things and read stuff. Nothing of import. Basic clothing. Shoes, things, toothbrush.
Hey,
I assume
Magatha,
people brush teeth back
do
then.
you smoke?
Oh no, how unladylike. She was just
That's a
drinking
shame.
like a
She
drinking like a
doesn't.
fish
She doesn't
last night.
smoke, but I noticed that Lawrence had a silver cigarette case, which I will now pocket, and as we leave.
Yes, it's a shame they already cleaned up his room. Nothing else to find here.
Well, I'm not sure there would have been anything else, but we
There's
definitely
probably
know the
miscellaneous.
connection.
There's a nice pen, like a really nice pen set, probably. He has his personal things. His wallet and such are not there, of course. I mean that stuff paperwork would be in the locker on the bridge, but nice pen set,
Yeah, I guess.
flask.
So there were lock picks and late night thieves, but the crew doesn't steal a pen set. The door wasn't
don't
even
think they
locked.
were. Well, and why wouldn't he have been in the room? So I don't know. It's a mystery. Let's go rejoin the others, see what they're up
Yes,
to.
I
See what
don't I don't
that
feel
commotion was.
I don't feel entirely safe. I know you have a gun, but let's get back to the others.
Yeah, and in the meantime, the woman has calmed down. She's moved
Yeah.
along.
But
Yeah.
before she leaves, I want to
Mhm.
ask. So, why did they have you cleaning this side? Is something happened to the regular maid?
Oh, we switched. It was just a
Oh,
switch.
okay,
We
just a
switch every
switch.
few
Okay.
days. That's all it was. I wasn't informed that I wasn't to clean this room.
Oh, I just worried that she might have been ill. She's been leaving the most wonderful mints on my pillow.
She folds the towels. They don't make
Like,
animals in the 1950s. It's like triangles and
yeah, it looks
boxes.
like pyramids. It's very
Mhm.
very appropriate.
Very apropos.
Ah, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Marcius. Hmm. Well. Hmm. Curious.
And Ptolemy does come back and he apologized to the woman. I mean, as you guys are, as you all get back together and you're just looking at the water, who knows what, you do see Ptolemy come back, and he looks calm and collected,
Mhm.
and he apologizes to the woman for taking it out on her.
Hmm. Well,
No.
starting to wonder if that's a side effect of becoming younger. I mean,
Yeah.
losing your temper
His
like
More
that.
testosterone.
his libido and his impetus to rage both seem to be somewhat out of control.
Hmm.
So we
Strange.
meet
Perhaps
back
his
up with you.
rage is.
Yep.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's definitely evidence that Mr. Ptolemy and Mr. Lawrence were acquainted with one another.
Oh.
Well,
Hmm.
now that he's calmed down, I'll go up to Ptolemy and I'll say that I'm
Hello?
glad. I'm so glad, dear. You seem to be feeling better. Now we can go on our walk.
Excellent. This is the perfect time of day for it before it gets too hot. And he latches onto your arm and he just starts walking the length of the ship with you. And Faisal's like, "Ah, okay, I'll just hang back. I'll
While
just sit
we're
here in this deck
alone,
chair."
I'll like play into it and act like I'm sightseeing a little bit with him, but I'll eventually ask, that he seems much calmer now. I hate to see such a brave and decorated man to be out of his humors, but uh, is there something that was troubling you so? I'm sure person cleaning your room, a lady even like her, touching your things, should not upset you so. Is it the
Oh,
treatment, my dear? Are you suffering?
the treatments make me anxious. Things just in my head, fast and furious. It says, but I'm calm now. I am calm, and perhaps we should just go sit in the shade and have a nice tea while we wait.
Yes, lovely. I was thinking of taking you up on your offer someday of trying these things myself, but
Oh, well,
do,
we shall speak about that after the
oh yeah,
perhaps
yes.
perhaps later. But thank you. Let's go sit and have tea.
Okay.
And Faisal sees you, Robinson, and he's just, I'm so sorry again for all the commotion, sir.
I mean, what are friends for?
Getting other friends out of trouble. Yes.
Mr. Faisal. So, I mean, the cat's out of the bag. We all know that you do the writing. Uh, how'd you come about this kind of a relationship? And I'm going to sort of be very friendly and sort of move him away from the rest of everyone so that
Oh,
we can have a
he
private
says, "Oh,
conversation.
my friend, it's been weighing on me for years. I am not the first. If you look at the number of novels, I am not the first ghostwriter that Mr. Langley has had writing for him. I have written the last four novels, and I hope to write the next four. It is a good job. It is a good gig, if you will, and it pays well. And I follow him around as if he's the boss. What more can I say? The pay is good.
So you're looking for probably adventures. The more adventures you have, the more
Oh,
interesting things become.
with his fame, he is asked to solve mysteries everywhere. He can't solve a single one. But my background, having worked for Scotland Yard and my training from my uncles and my father in the past and their investigative work back when they lived in Egypt, has brought us together, and I assist him, and it's a mutual agreement. But sir, I swear you to secrecy, sir. I swear you to secrecy. I can put you in one of the books if you don't
Oh,
mind.
that says very
Perhaps.
flattering. I could probably tell you half a dozen stories that would be worthy
Oh,
of making an interesting.
write them down, and I shall endeavor to take them into account for future novels. Novels.
So I get quiet for a moment and I look him in the eyes and I say, "So, how are you going to smuggle it out of the country?"
The book? It's I don't have to smuggle books. It's paper. I just roll it up, put it in an envelope or a tube, and
Not
in my luggage. I don't, I
and
don't know
I,
what
I
you're
guess
talking about.
I guess I'm using either intimidation
Yeah,
or
you
persuade.
have to say you're using it.
Yeah,
And on gun.
to see if I can get him to.
Because he's a little smaller than you, but
Yeah.
you're out in public. So go ahead.
Well, I want to give him the impression that I'll keep his secret too. Okay, I got 35 out of 40 if I use persuade. So I'm just giving him like, I know what you've got.
We're here on a job, sir. We can't really discuss the terms of our work. I want out of this job as quickly as possible. I just want to get back to England, back to writing. I don't care if my family came from here. It's hot. It's not England hot. It is Egypt hot, and I am tired of it already.
Well, the reason why, look, we're all trying to make a living, and I've lived here for 4 years, and I have a lot of connections, and I have a lot of means to get things in and out of the country. Unless you've already got somebody.
Are you
Maybe
offering
we
your
could,
services, perhaps?
well, yeah, for a small cut of the proceeds.
I could speak to Mr. Ptolemy about this.
Yeah.
That's it. What would your fee be? What?
Well, I mean, from what I understand, Mr. Ptolemy wants it for his collection, or are you planning on selling it? I know Mr. Lawrence was going to sell it for
Mr.
20,000.
Lawrence was a thorn in our sides. Let's just say that. And his demise was not our doing, so to speak.
Did
We
he
don't.
steal the piece from somebody you were planning on purchasing it from?
You could say that, yes. And he was
How,
trying to offload it.
I don't want to ask too many questions, but how did you get it away? I mean, we were sure that it was in the backpack that went to the bottom with the crocodile.
But we don't know where it is.
It's not in the trunk.
The trunk? Were you in our room?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You just said the trunk, and his eyes light up like, what? Trust level is no.
Well, dude, I'm kind of like you guys. I'm an adventurer. I keep my nose in things. I don't have any vested interest, but
It's
maybe.
missing. It's missing, and we're hoping to find it. That's why we're here.
Wow, well, if it's at the bottom of the river, which is what
Oh,
my guess was all along.
I assure you, it's not in the bottom of the river.
Besides, everybody has a trunk too, so.
Well, that's true. That's true. But he says it's not in the bottom of the river.
It's still on the boat.
It's missing.
No. If you need to talk to Mr. Ptolemy, if you need my help, I'm willing to offer.
Yes, absolutely. Please, do you have a card? Do you have a card? I don't know if you carry cards, but
I don't really carry cards. You
no,
know
I
who
wouldn't
am.
think so. Yeah, I know you're carrying. We will obtain your name before the end of the adventure you called it. Yes.
Yeah, and I'll think about writing down some of the other stuff and
Do
talking to
that.
you.
Do that. Do that. Thank you very much, sir. I am very pleased to have met you. And he just sort of, thank you, thank you. Off, exit stage right, and he just wanders off.
I'm gonna wander back to where everybody else is. I assume they're probably drinking by now, or
Because it's 10:30 in the morning.
and I'm gonna have this shit-eating grin on my face and say, I practically know everything at this point. So
Oh,
I tell him I informed them. They were definitely here for the amphora, but he's still claiming that he doesn't know where it is. He doesn't think it's at the bottom of the Nile.
So then that would mean that he knew where it was, at least when that happened.
And he claims he didn't know anything about the murder until like when we did.
Well, I suppose, although I don't love coincidence, we're not in one of the Horace Langley novels where everything has to fit together. Possibly Lawrence pissed off the Black Sands and got himself offed, and they didn't know that he had brought a valuable object on the boat. Or they took it that night, or it's at the bottom of the Nile, or it's in Sobek's scaly hands because that giant, unusually intelligent and directed crocodile delivered it to him. Maybe every crocodile nest has a tunnel to Sobek's mystical land in it. They don't.
You should
metaphysical of you, Dr. Ghost.
Well,
you should talk to Faisal. He'll write that into a story for you.
Yeah, Faisal's in the corner going, that's a good way of saying it.
Yeah, I imagine that Faisal doesn't pay royalties for images he steals. These people all seem to be roughly as ethical as the crocodile itself.
Just to be clear, Sean, I'm not saying any of this where Faisal is.
No, of course, no. I assume that he's wandered off anyways. He's wandered off to find Ptolemy. Are you still hanging out with Ptolemy?
Yep.
Okay. Well, yeah. Eventually, you see Faisal come up and go, "Sir, perhaps it's time for your morning drinks." Not drinks. He means. I don't know I can't think of the proper word. Health drinks.
Shakes.
Yeah, the dame hears drinks and she's just like, I've had enough.
Drops
I've
in
had plenty last night.
And alcohol.
Yeah. He's got a NutriBullet and he throws in like a mummy's finger and some lotus root.
I want to stall them though. Since everyone knows that they're together and with me, that means they're not in their room. I don't have any way to communicate that to them, but I will stall as long as I can and hope
until someone figures it out.
Figure it out. I guess I'll just start by seeing Faisal and say, "Oh, excellent! Now that you're here, I wanted to ask a very particular question about."
Oh yes. Please do.
What you told me earlier about, the health drinks, and I'll say when we stumbled, I was doing so much of the detective work, but when we stumbled upon the noises that Mr. Ptolemy was making last night during his nightly health drinks, he seemed to be in pain. This treatment isn't painful, is it? I can only imagine seeing your bones growing like you were a young man, sprouting from your body and growing taller and screaming in pain.
Snouts growing and
sounds horrible.
He says, "Oh, my lady, please do not fear. Any discomfort I felt last night was simply because of my getting over whatever malarial type illness I had up until this point. It is gone from my system. My treatments have worked. I feel wonderful, and I still encourage you to consider joining us."
Oh, I shall, if it can make me look a little bit younger. But she'll kind of ask for more details on like what. She'll ask. I saw that there was a capsule of the herbal serum that you spoke of with the what inside of it, and I was wondering, do you drink it or apply it directly to the forehead?
Where did you see this vial?
Oh, you showed it to me.
No, I don't think I. Were you in our room?
Oh yes,
my room. Ptolemy asked, "Were you in my room?"
You took me there last night. You took me into your arms. You don't remember?
He looks at Faisal. Faisal looks at him, and they. No, no, no. I think you're misremembering. Perhaps some of your clear tea that you were drinking may have. Um,
No, no,
um,
I would remember such strong arms. Trust the dame, and she'll start arguing with them and stuff, wasting time.
they get their back up. There's like, well, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, ma'am. There's been a misunderstanding. We absolutely were in bed by 10 o'clock last night. You know, they don't share a room, but they
Right.
sort of think, have a nice day, madam. We will see you soon. Please make sure that, and Ptolemy's like, please make sure she gets a nice meal and some drinks. And sort of
Oh,
wanders off.
so he does have a button. He's not just all fire in those loins. She'll chuckle as she shuffles away to the shuffleboard court.
Yeah, he strides off towards his room. So
Which he's not even escorting me, so he's really made it known that he is not such a gentleman after all.
yeah. So he's headed back to his room. They've gone up. You do see that. I'm assuming you're going to return to the area where everyone else is. And who shows up but Langley? And Langley's like, hey, hi, good morning, everyone. How are you today? Wow, it's such excitement coming up. Lunch is coming up soon, and it is because it's getting closer to lunchtime. You guys are talking and chatting. Food's starting to be prepared. You can smell it being prepared because it takes a little while. Just your standard lunch fare. Yeah, so very exciting about going to this party of sorts that they say they have for us offshore on shore. So is it fancy dress? Are we all just wearing what we're wearing? Is it?
Oh, I was planning on wearing light clothing if we're going to be going out
Yes,
into the
light,
desert.
light cotton.
Yeah,
This
it's going to be
weather.
hot. This is hot. As Faisal says, it's Egypt hot, not England hot.
Mm.
True. You seem to have recovered from your night of drinking quite well.
I feel wonderful. I feel wonderful.
You're not
Maybe they slipped
partaking of
something.
Ptolemy's elixir, are you?
No, 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 no.
Is that how is it, detective, that you
Thank you.
are so talented at hiring ghostwriters that they also have extracurricular skills, like administering exotic medicines to aged Egyptologists?
He looks whoever's closest to him, who's not you, says, extracurricular? What is it?
It's like
Um,
a side job, you know.
Oh, right, right. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it's Faisal who's giving the old man his medication, right?
Yes, he's our assistant. He's my assistant, but we're assisting Mr. Ptolemy right now.
Yes. So he's your assistant and you're his assistant, but why does Faisal know anything about exotic medicine?
We
I mean,
just
where did you find the kid?
we just follow. Faisal worked for Scotland Yard, and he came to me a number of years ago and said, "I'd really like to work under you as a private investigator and leave Scotland Yard and come work for you." That's exactly what happened.
So Scotland Yard is well versed in exotic Egyptian medicines.
Mr. Faisal came with me, and we were hired by this gentleman to come and assist him in finding some lost materials. And in doing so, he had some instructions that came with him from his own personal doctor, and we're just assisting with that. Very simple instructions for administering his medicine.
By injection primarily?
No, strangely, it's liquids, and they put it in a drink. It's in a special drink form.
And it cures malaria.
No. The malaria was something he contracted earlier on when we were at Giza, and it just took a few days to get rid of that.
Did they tell you anything at all, Horace?
Who?
Faisal and Ptolemy.
They tell me. I know everything. I'm in charge of this investigation.
the investigation into the missing object, which is what?
Yes. I'm not at liberty to say. My client has sworn me to secrecy.
Well, but he's writing a novel about it publicly.
We like to take real world adventures and turn them into something for the public.
We.
Well, Faisal assists me. Yes. He's better at spelling than I am.
Oh, come now, Doctor. The detective is just trying to enjoy his lunch. No more teasing now. Of course, we know that you are an excellent detective and will surely get to the bottom of whatever it is that you're trying to get to
That
the
is the
bottom of.
plan, Madame. Thank you very much. He says, look,
Yes.
I must make sure that Mr. Ptolemy's getting his food. So please enjoy your meals. And I, as you were. He
Yes.
stands, nods, and nervously tries to leave quickly.
What an insufferable fool.
Since when is it his job to get Mr.? I would think Faisal would do that.
He's out. He's like out the door. He doesn't say anything to anyone.
Yeah.
He's just coming up with excuses.
Yeah.
So food is starting to be prepared and put out on Steamline for you. It's like a buffet meal of sorts on the ship today. And servers will say, would you care for this? Would you care for that? They're trying to get at your orders ahead of time. They bring you whatever food you wish to try. And they say, we must all, after the meal, we recommend you all change into some lighter attire, simply because when we reach our destination, it will be very warm until the sun sets.
Of course.
Probably have a white linen suit.
Yeah, everybody would have probably brought something, except Dame Agatha, who probably has 18 layers of hot black clothing to wear, petticoats and
Corsets.
Just to keep you nice and warm.
Yeah.
So, and underneath it's all
Dame
sweat.
Agatha, we'll have to compare parasols.
Yes, the parasol fashion
We'll have to
review.
coordinate our parasols.
Mhm.
It's very important we do that.
So you eat, and then they recommend everybody go pack your things, get yourselves changed. The ships will be arriving in an hour or so. So is there anything anyone wants to do before the ships arrive? Because everybody's sort of gone to their rooms and sort of dispersed.
Well, I'll get my parasol and show Miss Ingham Smith. Mine has little alligators. But other than that, I will. Yeah, I'll tell everyone that while I was out strolling with Mr. Ptolemy, he seemed very offended that I may have seen into his room. When I mentioned his treatment, he got extremely defensive. And although he told me quite a bit about it, being physically in his room seems to be quite upsetting to him.
To be perfectly fair, if I thought somebody was poking around my stateroom, I'd be rather irritated as well.
Were you actually in his room, Dame Agatha, at any point?
I was watching outside. I was peeking in the door while you thought I was sleeping. I sleep with one eye open, you know.
It's odd because when I was actually in there, I really didn't see that much of anything interesting, except the trunk. The trunk's the only thing I could think of where they would hide it. But Mr. Faisal seemed to indicate that they didn't know where it was, though they were pretty sure it was still somewhere on the boat.
Really?
What's the certainty that it's on the boat?
I don't know.
When
I suggested it was at the bottom of the river, Mr. Faisal was he was like, no, it's somewhere here.
Of course, because they said that thing to each other about the distraction that it was when that man died. So what did they do with it?
I'm also wondering the possibility that somebody in the Black Sands has it and that they're going to make some sort of exchange at this party that we're going to.
We should certainly keep an eye out we have reasonable idea of the measurements of the amphora, so we should keep an eye out for sealed containers that are 1.5 feet or so high and not quite as big around.
There's one other little detail that it just occurred to me. We didn't see Demetrius on this boat until after the Amphora disappeared. So maybe they do have it, and whatever was inside of it is what's making him look younger.
Hmm.
Maybe he lives
Because,
inside of it like a genie.
well, I'm just saying that if he looked like that, 6 days ago when we started this trip, why did he not come out of his room?
According to him, he had malaria, and that's why he was groaning.
Or he
But
was 85 years old and
yes.
Or older.
or older. Maybe he is a mummy.
Starting to sound like Dr. Goss over here.
Well, there is definitely something weird going on.
Yeah.
Why would Faisal insist that it's missing? Why use that phrase specifically? Wouldn't you say that I don't know where it is? Why would you say it's missing?
Well, I'm making
putting
the assumption that I didn't make a mistake in what I said to him. If I said something that was obviously not true, then he would know it instantly and he would just lie to me.
Yeah, but I mean, he said he seemed interested in hiring you to smuggle it, right?
Yeah, that's where my conversation was going.
Yeah, it
And when I
seemed so.
mentioned the trunk, which to be honest, everybody on board has trunks where
Yeah.
you store your clothes, his eyes lit up like two dinner plates. So
didn't go ahead.
I guess we'll just find out today when we get to the
Yeah.
Valley of the Kings,
That's later. So today is the party. So
to the party.
yeah. So
Dinner party.
they do porters come around and try to encourage people to hurry up, get to their rooms and such.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you all head to your rooms. Clyde, question, your character being the character that he is, would he lock his door to his room?
Yeah, probably on this boat.
Okay. When you
Of course,
get to
I
your
also know
room,
how easy it is to.
well, yeah. When you get to your room, though, you notice it's unlocked.
No. All right. So I reach back behind me and I pull out my gun and I open the door. The rooms are small, obviously, on this boat. But I just open up the door and I look around inside. Anybody's in there.
It's pretty obvious to you. You probably remember how you left your room. It hasn't been turned over in the sense that there's stuff everywhere, but your pillow's been moved, your blanket's been thrown back, your cushion, your mattress is shifted a bit like someone was looking under it. It's pretty obvious someone was in your room poking around and left.
Okay. And I don't really have any valuables or anything. So
Yeah, you're not
look
hiding
around.
anything that I knew of. They just looked around your room and left. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Probably Faisal. I will get dressed.
Okay. All right, everybody. Anybody doing anything else now before? Okay. You get dressed. You change. The ship comes to a stop, and there's a small city, small town. You can see now from the bow of the ship, and there's a small dock off the side. The dock is in a weedy kind of area, shallow. So you can see 3 boats coming out, and power boats. They come out, they pull up alongside, and they take like 3 people at a time. Not 3 people, I'm sorry, 4 people at a time, plus tillerman and a motor driver. And you had one, group by group, boom, 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 heading off to the docks. Faisal comes, of course, in the same boat as Ptolemy. I would say Faisal, Ptolemy, Dr. Goss, and Agatha. You guys probably are kind of, due to non-alphabetical order, that somebody just sort of has a list of who goes on what boat. You guys go. The rest of you go with like one of the other, some crewman who's on off shift for a while. Some of the
Yeah.
crew go, some of the crew stay on the ship. And you arrive at the dock. And at the dock, you sort of form up and not form. It's not the military. You line up, get in a queue, and there's they march you into the and you literally are just sort of shown your way through an alleyway. You do notice there is a fence around this large area by the shore. There's food area that they're selling, just so not selling, but they have some various treats and samples of food. There are some vendors in there that are the approved vendors, but you can see outside of the fenced area, there's people kind of skulking around like, hey, you want to buy? Look what I've got. And they've got some beautiful clothing or like trinkets and things like that. So yeah, it's a small little city within the city where they've created like an area where there's approved shops, there's places for you to sit and get drinks, places to sit and have food. It's all shaded with nice awnings above you, and lots of stereotypical over the top Egyptian things like the paintings of Egyptian gods and things. And it's a tourist trap, and there's a meal coming up, and they have some music playing where you can watch tip the performers if you like, all that.
Huh.
So there's anything you guys want to. There's shops. There's information sessions where they talk about the history of Egypt and the history of the city and some of the temples in the city, that kind of thing.
I'm gonna go to the shops.
Okay.
I think I'll go with Casey. You gotta barter for any of this that you want, because
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They get mad if you don't haggle.
Well, they think you're stupid if you pay the price that they've got marked. Well, I've lived here for a while. I can help you bargain. So
I appreciate that.
And Casey, you can see that for the most part, actually not Casey. Yeah, Casey can see any of the things that are identified as like, they say artifacts. You're not seeing any real artifacts.
No.
If anything, you see some things that have been, dipped in tea to give them aging and let out in the sun so that they get a crack in the wood. There's nothing really truly ancient. There's some older things.
Yeah.
But 100 years old is not old for here.
No.
You see that one there that looks old and weathered? They wrapped that in camel dung and they baked it, and then they cleaned it up.
Yeah. I'm gonna buy a couple things because like 100 years old in my shop in Key West. That's going to be impressive to my customers. Of course, I'll haggle within, offering half of what they're asking, and we'll meet in the middle.
Yeah. And you can get some things that absolutely you've never been able to buy in the United States. You can buy you can get some things that are, to them, it's like, this is just piles of these back in the the back desert. But literally you haven't had things like this you can sell. And tripping. Yeah, you can definitely you can get things that you could sell back home. Getting them home, it's not like customs is the same as it is nowadays. You certainly could pack them in your luggage. What's everyone else doing? Marcia or Dame Agatha or Dr. Goss?
When we're first make landfall, I'm gonna ask Faisal and Dr. Ptolemy if they know the name of this village and if it's a new place and if it has any significance of its own, if it was built on something ancient, or why this would be a stop.
Faisal, it's a village. It's a village, a small town. There are some temples in the area that he knows of. It's not his area of expertise. He's a former cop. He's just assisting. Ptolemy, not Dr. Ptolemy though, he's quite willing to talk your ear off and tell you about the temples in the area and what he knows about it and the value and how the age of the temples versus the age of those of the Valley of the Kings versus the things at Giza. He goes into like a long, drawn out talk on the boat ride as well. He's excited about this because he's a collector. But he knows a collector's level of detail, not an Egyptologist's level. He just knows the high level details.
Yeah. So I'm gonna wander, have some snacks, listen to the music, and try to keep an eye on like if anything's being shifted off our vessel. There's some crates being taken off here. And it seems like if anything, there'd be supplies loaded onto the boat, not off. So I'm gonna look for that.
All right. Okay. I will say very easily. There's a little coffee shop that sells some very thick teas and some very sweet teas and some other and some coffees and such and some treats and dates and things. And you can set up on a little stool there and you're watching the boats come and you're also watching supplies go out to the ship. Um, but yes, as you watch, let me just take a quick look here. I would say that yes, as you are watching, um, you see they're taking some things off the ship, and it doesn't look like they're trying to hide stuff. It's like garbage. They take out the trash, so to speak. Um, because you do actually see on one of the ships that came back in with you guys being tendered, there was a closed container, and they took it over to a guard. They hauled it off like a carriage drawn by not a carriage. What do you call it? A thing drawn by a camel to carry things. Um, Cart. So they did haul. You're assuming it's garbage from the ship, like waste materials, waste foods that they didn't dump into the waters because they don't want to attract crocodiles. Um, but as you're watching, you do see uh, a trunk come off the ship,
Hmm.
and you do see, yes, Mr. Lawrence. They carefully wrapped in all kinds of essentially a carpet. They lower what you assume to be a body-shaped object off, and you see the doctor traveling with that to the shore.
Hmm.
And there's a waiting vehicle. They load the body into the vehicle. But you did notice a trunk come off the ship as well.
Which could be Lawrence's effects, perhaps, or what he had stored below decks. Um, is it going into the same cart as the corpse?
No. You see it.
Uh-huh.
There's another car, and that other car is a taxi. And that trunk is shifted into the back of the taxi, and they're tying down the trunk of the taxi. And there's two burly men standing by the taxi, looking very
Mhm.
intimidating. And this is outside of the area that's fenced in where you're supposed to stay in as part of your festivities. You're not supposed to wander. But they load it into the taxi. They tie the trunk down.
I don't know how to interfere with this. It's presumably Black Sands. Um, the the other fellows have wandered off into the shops and are haggling over things painted on fresh papyrus. Um, uh, Miss Ingham Smith,
Yes, yes.
and I sort of puff up to you. Even in my light seersucker, it's hot, and this coffee was roughly the texture of Delta mud. I think I have a look at those burly fellows over there. They appear to be receiving a trunk from our boat. Do you think they're finally moving the piece?
Perhaps we should go investigate.
What are there uniformed Egyptian police standing around keeping an eye on us tourists?
There are a couple of persons in uniforms because this is not like a tiny town, but it is a smaller town. But there are some police wandering around the outskirts of the area that's fenced in to keep you in.
Let's see if we can. You can play the damsel in distress far better
Yes.
than I. I remember your film. What was it called? Falls of Desire.
Ah,
That
yes.
Niagara flick. You looked tremendously vulnerable in that. Maybe you can interest
Yes.
the police in that crate, and at least we can get some information.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I'll kind of walk up and excuse me, officer. Please help.
Yes.
You see over there in the shops. I feel that there are some shady characters over there, and I'm wondering if you could perhaps lend me some assistance.
Well, I would say if you're going to do that, you have to do some kind of persuasion
Okay,
attempt.
all right. Let's see. Okay, cool. Let's grab dice. I'm going to spend 2 points of luck.
And a cat appears, and then you
And a cat
disappear.
appears.
Excellent. Yeah, they hold back for a minute. They look at each other because they're outside of the fence, right? They're sort of patrolling the outskirts. And the one guy says something to the other guy. And they both come around to where there's an opening in the fence. That's, there's a gate, but they open the gate, they pass through, they come in, they shut the gate behind them. Which shop are you concerned about, ma'am?
Oh, I think he was over here. I think he went over this way. He was very, very shady and member. Oh, you know what I think he was a member of? I believe he's a member of those Black Sand characters I've heard so much of. You know of them, I'm sure.
Of course, ma'am, of course. And they look at each
Yes.
other. One says, "How do you know about Black Sands?" And the other
Oh,
starts walking over towards the area, sort of looking like, what's going
mhm.
on?
That
Yes. Well,
taxi over there, so they received something from our tourist ship.
Oh, those are personal effects of the deceased. You worry not. Those are personal effects of the deceased.
Why are
But
they going to a different place than the deceased officer?
they're
Sorry.
going to the holding area at the police station for when they are shipped to the family. The body must be taken to the morgue.
Mm.
But all is well. Where are these shady persons? Are they the shady persons you were speaking of? The persons at the taxi there?
perhaps. Let's look over here. I believe I saw them over here.
Well, they follow you for a bit. They
They
do
were getting
follow you
very
because, yeah.
close to me. Sorry, Dr. Cross. I was hoping you were looking for a distraction. That's what I thought for
Yeah, they do follow you because they're
Okay.
still persuaded to
Okay.
be concerned. So they do walk around like looking. They're not paying attention to
Okay.
Dr. Goss. How's that?
Okay. All right.
All right. Thankfully, Miss Smith gave me that wink before because I was clearly not following her the theatrical mentality.
Such a good actress. You're just
Yes.
Right. So I'll slip out of the fence there,
mhm.
and the two scary looking gentlemen, is there a driver as well, or is it just the two of them?
One of them is the driver,
One of them is the driver.
but they're together.
Yeah. So I'm gonna fully embody confused tourist and just I'm very sorry. I think there's been a mistake. I think that looks like my trunk. Is it the walnut and the brass handles? Is that possibly? And I'm going to try to get close enough to at least eyeball the trunk and determine whatever I can about it, or them, or the
Do you
taxi.
speak? I don't have your character open for me. Do you speak? What do you speak?
Do you know, I have a fairly high score in ancient Egyptian, which means I assume I can read hieroglyphs, but I would have to be able to
Mhm.
speak.
Arabic.
Oh, yeah, I don't know how I could study that effectively without having a baseline in Arabic.
Yeah, they don't they only know a smattering of English. There's tourists. I mean that but they do. These guys are just heavies.
Right.
They don't understand what you're talking about, but they see you pointing at the trunk, and one moves to get between you and it, but you have enough time to give it a, you can see it, you can look at it. It's like one of the ships, like one of the trunks you see on the ship. It's just a person's steamer trunk, and there's stickers on it, and you see stickers that it has been on a ship that has gone to the United States, and you see stickers that are like a port sticker from London, England, but as well as New York City. Like and you know what? I will give you the opportunity if you know what? I don't think you have to look for it too hard. It's going to be on the side. You can see the Lawrence on the side of the trunk.
Okay. So it is his name, as long as his name is stenciled on it,
It's stenciled.
then I'm gonna let it go. If that's
Okay.
the end of Amphora, then I'd be surprised. It's probably mostly his socks. Yeah, all right. Well, I've had some more of that tar-like coffee, I guess.
Okay.
Frankly,
What do
I'm
you?
impatient to get to the Valley of the Kings.
Yeah. Okay. So is anyone else doing anything at all right now?
I want to slowly, because it's hot, open up the parasol, and I'm gonna stay near Ptolemy, and I assume Lawrence and Faisal are kind of together, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
There.
and I want to talk to Langley a little bit, and kind of see, like, if I ask him some basic questions, like, does he seem like he's just like has a hangover, or does he seem like he's actually changed, like his mental state is like lowered somehow? Like, I want to give him a cognitive test.
Okay. He's
I have
not.
psychology.
When he was drinking, he dropped his accent, the accent's back. He's very posh again. He's very English again, very posh. He's professional, private investigator guy. Um, he's not acting like he's got brain damage or something
Okay.
has happened to him or anything like that. But um, they're just really just sitting in an area watching entertainment. They do glance around, and after you can see Dr. Goss wandering outside the fence, and then you see Dr. Goss wander back, and then you see a couple of vehicles drive off, a big black hearse-like vehicle, and a taxi following it. But so you're just sitting with them talking and and enjoying the entertainment. Um, then you see some of the boats have all returned now from the ship, the ones that were taking supplies to the ship. One, however, goes down the river.
So they were the ones who were bringing supplies to the ship, you said?
Mm-hmm.
And now they're going
Yep.
downriver.
Yeah. So, entertainment is good if no one else is doing anything in particular. Faisal and Ptolemy and Langley, they're just sitting there enjoying things. And after a while, he starts to get tired. Ptolemy's like, I'm getting so tired, Faisal. I'm getting so tired. And as you're watching, Dame Agatha notices that he's looking weathered. He's looking tired. He's looking a little older.
Oh,
And
yes.
he's asking to go back to the ship.
How many times a day do you get so tired?
Oh,
I'll look at
it's
Faisal.
oh, Faisal's like, it's just part of the treatment. It's part of the treatments. We're hoping that at some point soon we will have a more solid recovery for him according to what
Oh,
his
yes.
plans are that we've received from his doctor back home.
We should, you should hurry to that. But I thought it was just morning and night, but it seems morning, noon, and night he needs treatments. Isn't that so?
Well, Ptolemy actually, when you say that, Ptolemy says, she's not incorrect. This is getting harsh. And you hear a crash
Oh,
from the water, direction of the water. And you see splashing and yelling down by the docks. All of you hear this. All of you hear the crashing and yelling down by the docks.
Somebody fell in. Is it yelling like fighting or like
Like,
help me?
ah!
Okay.
Frightened yelling. And you hear a gunshot and then another gunshot. Then you see the police
Crocodile.
standing on the docks and they're shooting at something in the water.
The crocodile's back. I'm going to run to the dock to see what I can see.
You can get to the dock. The dock is not fenced off. As you approach, you see that there is a crocodile coming up on the shore. And one has found its way up onto the edge of one of the ships, one of the boats, because they're low level, power boats. They're very low to the water. One has found its way up into the boat and is going after it. One of the boat's pilots that is like just trying to fend it off with an oar. They happen to have an oar in case power goes, the motor stops working. And he's smacking this crocodile. And there's another one on the shore, and it's heading upwards towards where all of you are.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't think they're good with stairs. I'm going to look for something a little vertical.
It's kind of hard where you are. This is all low to the ground down by the shore. There's shops that are like relatively temporary, very thin wood, but they have doors. You can get inside one of those little shops. They
Yeah.
shut down at night.
Yeah. Was there a shop that had older people in it?
Yeah, there's a lot of people. A lot of the merchants are older. Yep, they're slower.
No, yeah, I'm gonna go hang out around there. That way, if I need to run, I got someone I can.
That's right. You have bait.
You don't have to outrun the crocodiles, just your friends.
Yeah.
I'm running towards the croc,
Mm.
and as soon as they can run very fast, but only
Oh,
in
yeah.
bursts.
Yes.
So I'm going to safely run towards it, and when I get close enough, I'll fire a couple bullets into its brain if I can.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and another one has actually appeared now on the other side of the docks. There's 3 crocodiles, one in the boat attacking the fellow working the boat, one on the left, one on the right. I'm assuming you're going to the one on the left because that's the first one you saw. So, yeah, roll to hit.
I got 38, which is, where is it? 60. Well, wait, firearms 60. Yeah. So if I spend the 8 points, will I do more damage? I don't know.
You can get a better hit. I mean, you could, instead of winging it all, I'll give you that. Instead, I don't think you do more
Well,
damage. But
I'm not shooting at it from 50 feet away. I can run
No.
up to within 10 feet of it and then shoot at it.
Yeah.
I just got to time it. I'm aiming for its brain.
Okay. Do some damage then. I'm just looking up
What is my
stat.
damage? It's my gun. Where is my damage? My damage is 1d10.
Four. Okay. It's like you get a side of its shoulder or something like that. Police have fired as well. They hit. They're right there. 1, 2. So they're going after the one in the boat as well as the one where you are. The one in the boat taking a significant hit, but it's also got a hold of the pilot of the boat. It's tearing away at him. What's everyone else doing? What are you doing, Dame Agatha, apart from screaming?
yeah, yell for Faisal to help Mr. Ptolemy quickly. And I want to see where they go. Back to the boat, maybe.
Can't go back to the boat.
And then where are they going?
Faisal helps Ptolemy up. Ptolemy and Faisal, they actually they look around quickly and they go into a shop. The owners pull them in and shut the door, and they lower the awning. Batonk.
Yeah,
They
I wanna go
they wave you in as well because you're with
yeah,
them.
I'll go hide.
Okay.
I'll say, what in the world is happening, Mr. Ptolemy?
And I don't know. This is a horrendous situation. Oh my gosh, they should never put a facility like this down by the marsh where the crocodiles live. And you don't see Langley in with you. And you, Clyde, you see Langley come running out. He's running out to the dock, and he's picked up something like a he's found like an old sword in a booth, a shop somewhere, one of those cheap ones they sell to tourists. He's got a sword in one hand, and he's yelling and he's running down the dock towards the crocodiles, and the police are shooting. And so, what are you doing, Casey?
I'm still hanging out in the shop. I mean, I've got nothing I can deal with the crocodile for
Yep.
and stuff. How are the people that live here or work here? How are they reacting? Because I'm like, is maybe it's a normal, well, not a normal, but not like a super rare experience that a crocodile comes up because they talked about building it by the marsh and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty rare. They're yelling and they're shutting up their shops and closing the doors. Some of them are running for that open gateway to get out to run off. Yeah, it's not a normal experience for them for this to happen. They usually
Okay.
there's usually people who patrol the marsh area.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to move toward that gate area also because if, my logic is if the crowd's doing that, then that must be the safer thing. I know
Yeah.
that's not great
Okay.
logic, but
Marcia Smith, what are you doing?
I'm kind of looking around for the guys. I don't really see anyone, so I'm gonna look for like a vehicle. Like if there's a vehicle, that's are there any like cars nearby?
There's a few taxis, but the operators are, fleeing or in the taxis getting ready to drive away.
Okay, all right. Then I'm gonna go like into one of the shops and see if someone will let me into the shops. Please let me in.
Oh
Let
yeah,
me in.
they let you in. They see
Okay.
you as tourists. Your source of income. Plus,
Yeah.
you're a woman who's in distress, and they let you in. Shut the door. Dr. Goss, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm maintaining. I don't think I want to be locked up in a shop particularly, but I might be sort of leaning around from the corner of one, watching the situation.
Okay.
I don't imagine the crocodile's looking for me, and I don't imagine the crocodile's going to get as far as I am without finding somebody else first. And I don't think they're going to continue to eat people. I think one will be enough if the police don't manage to get the situation under control. But I'm
Okay.
not going to not see what's going on.
No. Okay. So I'll leave it with Clyde. Clyde, you shot one crocodile. The police are shooting at that one and the one that is in the boat. Do you want to get another shot off?
Yes. Yeah. I'll try to aim and fire. Oh, what did I get this time? Of 53 out of 60. So I still hit.
Okay.
I do 7 hit points of damage this time. Maybe I shoot him
Okay.
in the eye.
7, and you did 4 before. That's 11.
All
And
right.
okay, I'd say do a quick roll. Yeah, the one police officer is focusing on the same one you're shooting at. So yeah, the one on the left, they shoot it, and it's rolls over the side dead. The one in the boat has been shot as well, but it's now taken out the guy, the one of the pilots. He's grabbed the pilot by the leg, and it's thrashing around and it's biting him again, but it's being shot as well. But past you runs Langley. He's got this sword in his hands, and he says, "To save the others," or some crazy ass thing he yells out, and he just leaps at the one crocodile rather on the right, and it's distracted because it's looking at some people in the water that were tying up the boats, and he just sort of swings, tries to jam the sword in the thing's skull, and he busts the sword. It's a
Of
cheap
course he does,
tourist
yeah.
sword. It's not a real sword. And the crocodile notices him and turns at him, and it's now running towards him. That's very close. It's going to get to him in seconds. So, and you hear him go, "Ah!" And he's slipping in the mud and trying to fall. So yeah, that's where that stands. So what do you do now, Clyde? Sorry.
Well, if I see that going on, have I pretty much we've dispatched
Yeah,
this
that one is dispatched. The one in the boat is still alive, and this is the one over.
So I'd probably start cussing loudly and running towards the one that's attacking Langley, but I'm like, fuck, I didn't want to have to save that stupid bastard.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but he was kind of brave running out there with that stupid fake sword. Uh, so I'm running. I'm not running and firing. I'm running until I can get close enough, and
Yeah.
then the same thing. I'll just come up where I can get fairly, within 2 or 3 feet of it. Well, maybe that's a little close.
Mhm.
Within 10 feet of it, and then fire into it.
Okay. And
And I'm all the while ready to jump and get out
yeah,
of the
yeah.
way
You're
if it
staying on
turns
shore. You're not
around.
getting bogged down in the mud or the marsh or anything like that.
Right.
There's a police officer on the dock. He's the one has changed his shooting towards the one in the boat. So that crocodile is going to be dispatched fairly soon. But the other one is turned and he's facing the one Langley and you are after now, and he's firing at it as well. He's hit it twice. Well, once rather. You've hit it once, or you can hit it once. You can shoot now. Sorry.
Okay, I
Before.
already rolled. Yes, I
Oh,
do succeed, and I do 9 points of damage this time.
9 points. Good hit. Okay. So you do a good hit on it. Langley has fallen in the mud and it's rushing towards him. So it's going to. It grabs him by the foot. So it grabs Langley by the foot and it gives it a big pull that pulls him into the water. Langley takes some damage from that. He's screaming like a little girl. And the police are shooting at it. So Langley is taking some damage. He's now partly in the mud up to his chest and being pulled into the water. So you can have another shot if you'd like. The police are shooting as well. It's up to you, or you can do something else. Let's go back to the party.
Is it possible to maybe grab his hand
Mm-hmm.
while I am, pulling him and shooting at the
Sure.
croc?
Sure. You can do that. Stabilize him
Oh, 72, I miss because I'm trying to pull
because
him.
you're trying to help him. Yeah, the police
Yeah.
officer's shooting. So he's getting pulled down to the mud. So the water's now up to his neck, and the crocodile's partially underwater. Now the other police officer, they've taken care of the one in the boat, and there's people running down and now from the crowd that are not fleeing to try to assist. And Langley's being pulled slowly into the water. Okay. If you want to try to roll a strength roll, you can try to keep him from going
Surprisingly,
underwater.
not that strong.
Hmm.
I got 23 out of 50, so I actually got a hard.
Okay, you can, but you have to use both of your hands. You're able to keep him out of the water, and you're pulling like against the weight of the crocodile. So the other police are coming now. There's a guy with a rifle, and he's aiming the water, and I will roll that. Whoa, I've just opened too many things there by accident. And all right, he shoots the crocodile. The crocodile releases Langley. You assume it's dead. It'll probably float up in a few minutes, so you're able to pull him out of the water.
God damn it, Langley, you're such an asshole.
And his foot is a mess. Like it is like his shoe is a mess. It's been twisted, and it's not only his ankle's broken, and his foot is just chewed up. So, and he's in dirty, muddy, mucky marsh water.
I probably psychologically revert to the military, and I'm like, medic.
And the doctor's
As
right
I-
there. The doctor from the ship as well. He's nearby as well.
I drag him up onto the shore.
When I see what's happened, of course, and that there is no further reptile danger, I'll come out. But I didn't bring my medical bag off the ship to the shindig, so maybe I'll just, if I can advise Jody at all, I'll try to. Dr. Amari.
The Dr. Amari, he has his medical kit. He's assisting. Long and short of it, the pilot of the one boat is dead. He's not going to survive his wounds. And Langley is mortally wounded. His ankle is damaged heavily. His ankle is broken. He's going to need hospitalization. So he does what he can to stabilize him. They call for an ambulance. The party's over. The party is over. The people have fled. People have fled, or people have free. There's blood. There's death.
Mm.
They still serve you a meal,
Oh.
but there's foods there. Like the people have to eat, but when it gets close to, as the evening rolls around, they go, well, we should probably return to the ship. And the captain says, I have some terrible news, everyone. I have some terrible news. Our ship is not going anywhere.
What?
The drive shaft has been damaged. I don't know what could have done this, but the drive shaft is bent and damaged, and the propeller is bent. So we won't be going anywhere until that repairs can be made, and that would involve us bringing the ship into dry dock or somehow raising it up as when the tide goes down. So we can provide you with transportation to Luxor by car, by taxi. Have your goods unloaded at a later date. Take what you need, and we'll ship them to Luxor, where you will be. And we'll ensure that one of the other vessels we have in a few days, which will be returning back the other direction to your original starting point in Giza. So they're offering you a transportation to Luxor
Today or like
today. Yes, they've made some calls. Some taxis are on their way.
My pristine, sorry, my pristine and beautiful white suit. I no longer have.
They will allow you to return to the ship to get your belongings or change your clothing, of course, but just the ship is not moving anywhere.
Yes, I want to get my essentials, identification, my medical kit.
Yeah.
Are we going to be expected to camp out in tents? What are the accommodations?
No. We will transport you to Luxor. Luxor has beautiful hotels, beautiful modern city, modern hotels. Good. Wonderful.
Honestly, Ms. Ingham Smith, I think the farther we are from the Nile and its denizens, the better.
Yes. Okay.
I agree.
I like the idea of, I don't think, is there no Egyptian god that's got a camel's head? How odd.
I don't know.
Anyway, I don't think the camels are going to attack us. I think we know what happened to the propeller of the ship. Yeah, so let's get our things and get as far from this damned vessel as we can.
Yeah.
And see the splendor of the Valley of the Kings.
And not Lawrence, I'm sorry. Langley's waving, says, gentlemen, have a wonderful trip, and we ladies as well. And he yells out to Faisal, take care of the good Mr. Ptolemy while I'm gone, and we shall continue our adventures at a later date. Please make note, I have saved the day. He's like, just trying to make it out like he's done something heroic and wonderful. And police are just shaking their head because like he grabbed a cheap sword and tried to stab a crocodile with a $5.
Someone up his morphine dosage, please. His voice is.
So he's taken off. Yeah. He's off. He's off and gone. So pretty much everybody. I'd say the other guests on the ship that you really haven't interacted with at all, the older couple, they're not going anywhere. They're waiting. They're actually going to take a cab back. They're leaving. They're gone. They don't want to have anything to do with this tour anymore, as it's this 3-day tour. And so you can go to the ship and return most of your belongings if they're very small, and they load them. And now it is getting close to evening, and it's going to be a few hours drive, but they will get you to Luxor. So,
All right.
So you arrive at Luxor, and they put you up in a very nice hotel. And the tour company's there to make sure you have food, water, and Dr. Clyde. They want to wash. They're going to make sure that your wonderful suit is cleaned by morning for you. And everybody can bunk up, single or doubles. It doesn't matter, whatever rooms you like, and you can do. So did you want to take a break, Tom? Is that the?
Yeah, let's take a quick bio break.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
Thank
All
you.
right.
5 minutes later.
So You're in your rooms. Unless they're going to do something during the evening, I would say they like I said, they're treating you like gold. They're so sorry about what happened. You know you're in the same hotel as Faisal and Ptolemy.
Hmm.
That's and some of the staff I think have probably been brought to the here as well. Some of the staff that might have been injured or frightened, but all your goods are with you, and anything large you couldn't fit in the taxi will arrive by morning.
Okay. Hmm.
So when are we supposed to go out and see the Valley of the Kings?
Probably first thing tomorrow. Although, actually, let me check my letter from Dr. Clark. I mean, there was a reason to expect me at a certain time, or us.
I think it was rather open.
Yeah, whenever.
Hmm.
So
Did she say where she's staying?
there's a camp that she's based in, or the excavation is happening on site in Luxor. So I think we'll have breakfast. I mean, my move is to have breakfast and get out there, ideally before Ptolemy.
I kind of
We'll,
think the same thing.
we'll house things up.
Hmm.
Do you think Faisal's going to take over the whole Langley role now that he's going to have a botched amputation in Egypt and disappear from the world?
Fucking idiot. Did you see him run out there with that? I don't know what he thought he was going to do. Their skulls
He
are like really thick.
he might as well have taken a pickle with him into battle. It was maybe he's got some Don Quixote in him.
Hmm.
It's amazing
I
he
mean,
lasted as long as he did.
I didn't feel like I did anything foolhardy because I've been here for a while. I know the way those animals act, but he was nuts.
Yeah.
No.
Or
Or he has finally given up, or they gave him, maybe he snuck some of the elixir and it was making him batty the way it seems to make Gold Ptolemy batty.
well, I keep thinking about the kid in the backpack jumping over the side of the boat into the water without regard for
Hmm.
the rocks.
Totally
Was
fearless.
was he? I'm going to try to think back. Did Lauren? What's his name all of a sudden? Um, did
Langley?
Langley look dazed or confused as he was attacking? Since I was right there.
You don't have to roll for it. I would say that no, he just looked like himself. He looked excited. He looked happy.
Sudden strange bravery because that was a big fucking grok,
I,
you know.
it just seemed like to me now I was a little far back because that old lady kept staying in front of me where I could see, but um, it looked like he was just maybe he has dreams of grandeur. Maybe he didn't do well in the war, or and now he's wants to overcome his.
Maybe your words got to him, Dr. Gross, and
But
he
he's
I'm
wanted
not
to
not
the
prove
gonna
himself.
I'm not going to accept responsibility for that idiot grabbing a souvenir sword made out of tin and attacking a giant reptile.
he saw the young guy get killed, didn't he?
Yeah,
He knows how terrifying and dangerous those animals are.
yeah. Delusions of grandeur. He can't have survived this long if he'd always had that sort of mania.
He
Yeah.
seemed like a chicken, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Plump, juicy chicken, straight into the jaws of a son of a bitch. Okay, well,
I did not.
yeah,
Yeah, I
let's go early. I'll get transportation. I'll get private transportation.
actually, yeah. Let's tell the hotel that we want coffee at and rolls at dawn, and we'll just get out of Dodge. we could look around if Clark and her team aren't awake, but probably they're getting up very early too if they're staying on site.
Yeah, I think we'll get the work started while it's still cool before the
Yeah.
daytime heat comes in.
Well, the sun rises in the morning, and there's a gentle breeze. It's light, cool out still when you first awaken. The sun is coming up, and you can feel the heat from the sun just warming the air the moment it crests over the horizon. Food is brought to you in your rooms. Again, apologies from the tour company. They say, "What are your plans for the day? What would you like to do?" And there's a person comes to each of your rooms. I don't know how many rooms you choose to take, whatever. And there's just essentially, do you wish to go on some tours of the city before you? It'll be another few days before the ship leaves. The new ship the ship that's arriving to take you back to Giza, so you can find your way back.
We've got business.
Oh, thanks.
I have a letter from Dr. Clark. She's expecting us at the site at Luxor.
Oh, well, if you wish to get a message out, we definitely have riders that can run a message out, or there's radios. There's many ways we can send a message.
I think we're just going to head straight there after we've breakfasted, yes?
Excellent. And the waiter, whoever it is, comes from the tour company. I will make sure to arrange for cars. How many do we need? Two cars?
Yes,
Yeah.
two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's 3 cars. Got it. Excellent. Okay.
2
I
cars.
will make sure that yes, 2 for you. Yes. So he leaves out, heads off, and makes the calls, and they'll be ready in 20 minutes, 25 minutes, but they'll wait for you. Take your time.
Mm-hmm.
Other car for Mr. Ptolemy.
I'm gonna look around. Yeah,
Yeah,
keeping an eye
yeah,
out for Ptolemy and Faisal.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Hopefully they're
hanging
not
out in
even
like the
awake yet.
breakfast area, just sort of wistfully eating a pastry.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll mention while we eat pastries, Mr. Ptolemy seems so weak right before that little incident by the river, Marcia. He told me that he was growing weaker and that it was getting harder for him for some reason.
It's probably because he hadn't taken his dosage.
Yes, Faisal seemed to make it sound like he needed it, but perhaps it wouldn't be too difficult to. We could slow him down very easily if we wanted to. We could distract him, I think, and buy us some extra time. What do you think about that?
What's your plan, though, Dame Wyndham? Just distract him, perhaps, or what?
Well, I don't see why not, because if he's simply distracted with some small fare, like maybe his car gets delayed and then he'll need another dosage and be delayed even further. So by the time he makes it to us, it could be past noon.
Well, ladies, are you going to stay here and we're going to go?
I think
Or you want to come with us?
we're all going to go, yes. I wish to see the pyramids and all the sights.
There's no pyramids here.
No pyramids.
No, that's
Yes,
back
these are
in
the
Giza.
tombs, Dame
That's
Wyndham.
where you started the
This is
I'm certainly, I'm certainly happy to engage in any tomfoolery. We're all here, right? Everyone
Yeah.
is
Mhm.
at the
Yeah.
table. Did any of you have a dream last night? I'm still a little wistful from my sleep last night. Did anyone
Did you have
have
a
a
dream?
strange dream? And it may just be because of all the excitement yesterday and all this talk of ancient Egypt, but I had a dream last night where it's going to sound silly, but a man with a crocodile head spoke to me.
Like
He spoke
Sobek?
in my mind. Sobek, is that this
Crocodile
god that you
god with,
all speak
yeah, looks
of?
like a man with a croc head.
Mm.
Oh, well, he came into my dreams last night. I don't recall what he said, but it sounded quite calming.
Oh,
Calming.
Well, all the stuff we've been talking about, no wonder you're dreaming about it.
I think it's just infiltrated my mind, all the excitement yesterday and all that, I'm sure. But it'd be quite interesting to see if there's any replicas of him out here at this site. I'd be very, very intrigued by that. But to your answer, Ting, yes, we can certainly, if we need to, sure, with our wiles, we can delay him if need be.
And on
'Cause
cue,
I'm thinking
three vehicles are pulled up now out front, just so you know.
all right.
Because, yeah, we don't need 3 vehicles. We need 2 vehicles, and we only need 1 vehicle, ladies, if you're going to stay here and try to distract him. But I say we all go. He's probably still sound asleep. It's early.
Yeah, I think the idea was we were all going to go. Yeah.
I was going to see if they could make extra sure Mr. Ptolemy's car is in working order.
Even if it extra sure he's sleeping.
Might take an extra few hours for him to get to us, but I'll tip the person handling the cars a little bit of money and say to make sure that Mr. Ptolemy's tires are well shined. He likes a well shined tire, no matter how long it takes.
Do you mean something else? No, is that innuendo, or do you mean slow him down?
So, who knows how to drive? I know how to drive in this condition. Who else is going to drive?
We don't have drivers?
No, there's drivers.
Cars?
There's drivers for each of the cars. So the 2 they're ready to load you up in 2 of the cars. I mean, the third car, you don't know why it's there.
Let's go. Let's stop talking.
Yes.
All this talking's giving him more time.
Chop.
I'm going to
Shine
climb
those
in with
tires.
Casey. I'll climb in with Casey.
Okay.
I'll sit in the front seat.
Okay. Are the rest of the other 3 of you doing something, or 2 of you doing something? I'm confused who's doing what.
You know, we're bundling into the 2 vehicles, and
okay.
Unless
we want to
together.
Oh, maybe Dame Agatha, you should take the 3rd car solo, and then not only do they not have shined tires, but they don't have a 3rd car.
Oh yes, I drove a car once.
No, you have a driver.
Oh, well, maybe she does steal it. She's a little bit. That would be fun.
We've lost Langley already.
She gets there an hour before we do.
Oh, God.
That ends the game pretty quick.
Yeah.
Will they give me my own car? I can raise a fuss.
You can have if you raise a fuss and pay the right fees, they'll let you have that 3rd car.
Sure.
Not to drive yourself, but I mean, they will say,
Yeah, take it yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should do that.
The 5 of us will take 3 cars unnecessarily and
Yeah.
stranded.
all right, on go.
Obnoxious Europeans, like
The Egyptians are like, whatever, they want to pay for it, let them go.
I would not travel with these others. I need all the room for my small white dog.
Okay.
Yeah,
you pile into the 3 cars, and you head off towards the direction of where you're going to the dig. You've got the directions. You managed to obtain it. Actually, this hotel had the letter was preceded. Sorry, you were preceded by no. The instructions were given to the hotel to get where to send you. So, like, in Valley of the Kings is not monstrous that they couldn't find the dig by the doctor's name. So you're off and on your way. Boom, the 3 cars, and I'm sure who's ever in the rearmost car, probably Dame Agatha, whatever. You turn around and you see Faisal come running out of the hotel, like, what the? And you guys are so the trip is fast. These drivers drive very fast, and after half an hour's drive through the city of Luxor, town of Luxor at the time, perhaps, you do find your way into the desert. And after a while, you see the hills and the rocky outcroppings of the Valley of the Kings, the mountains in which they're located. And I can't remember exactly how many digs there are at this time, but you do see signs. You do see that it's not developed as a tourist area to the same degree it is now. And you go off road. You move away from the actual Valley of the Kings to an area on the outskirts of the hills, and you see tents in the distance, and a lot of people working, and dust rising up as they're sifting through sands. And you pull up into a little enclosed area, and remind me what the name of the doctor is. Dr. Clark. It is Dr. Clark. Dr. Clark, uh, wiping her hands off, drying off. She comes out and she was, "Can I help you? Can I help you?" And it's Dr. Goss. I mean, she recognizes you, I guess, because of your voice. She
Well,
goes, "Dr. Goss, you've arrived and you brought friends with you. This is most excellent. Um,
Yes.
I'm glad you could have arrived. Please come and take a tour of the dig. I'm happy to see that you are here." And she introduces herself to all of you.
Mhm.
And this is the most interesting dig. It is absolutely something we've never seen before. Please come. And she takes you on a tour of the outskirts and shows you where the tent area is, where they're sifting through sands and buckets, like wicker baskets full of material come up and are dumped through sieves. And then piece by piece, they're picked through and little bits of ornamentation or whatever they find, crockery, pottery is found and set aside. The whole shebang. And she pushes forward to this area. She goes, "And here is the actual unearthed area." And you do see that there is a sloping area that leads down to an open, like an actual stone rock face that's carved with some hieroglyphics on the outside. And she says, we've been inside. It is one of the most amazing things. So tell me, how was your trip so far? She has some chairs out. She brings some water, some dates, cream cheese stuff in the dates.
Think. It was eventful. The ship broke.
Broke?
Yeah, the propeller got bent.
Well, and we also, a man was murdered on our boat ride down.
I did hear
and,
this, yes.
And another one jumped off the boat and was mauled by crocodiles. So
That happens here.
and then at the village upriver that people stop at for the sort of fair, there was a crocodile attack. Two more very substantial specimens came. One of them attacked one of the fleet of vessels that goes back and forth from our ship, and the other one
Attacked a vessel.
Yeah, attacked a man on
a vessel.
Yeah.
Interesting. No more deaths, I assume.
More deaths, manglings.
But,
Oh, how horrific!
Oh, I forgot to mention. Right before the crocodiles attacked us, we saw the boats bringing supplies to us. One of them went a different way than the others. I saw it go right downstream.
That's very interesting. What? Well, people own boats. A lot of the boats here are privately owned, and she's just interested. And we have a couple more guests coming. Are you with them or not?
who is that?
It's a Mr. Ptolemy, who's a collector from the States, who's funding a lot of the digs in the area here. He's a collector and a philanthropist and a publisher, and his personal assistant is coming with him as well.
Oh.
Well, his assistant,
Anthony Faisal, I believe his name was.
He didn't mention a Langley to you?
Langley? Who is Langley? Is this a driver?
Dr. Clark, it's very interesting. We were on the same ship, you see, the same little trawler. It was presented to us by Misters Ptolemy, Langley, and Faisal, all three, that Ptolemy hired Langley, who was employing Faisal. So it's peculiar that you haven't heard of that middleman, because you see, he's the one who was mangled and won't be joining us.
Why do I know that name, Langley?
He's a
Horace Langley? She's
Yeah.
very excited. Then she shows you, she whips open the door of her tent, which is nearby, and she's got all the collected works of Horace Langley on the wall. She's very excited by this, but that's just everyone at this time knows of Horace Langley. She's She says, please, I don't know where they are, but would you please come down and let's go down in all. She calls to the men to come out of the dig area. She says, this is very, very, very unseen to this date in this area. Built into
Dr.
the
Clark,
rock wall. Oh, yes, yes.
I'm extremely honored and very excited and full of anticipation. Before we descend, I have one word I want to say to you.
Yes.
Sobek?
How did you know?
Miss Ingram Smith appears to be sensitive. She had a dream last night.
Sensitive? That sounds like something the locals would say. Sensitive? We are people of science here.
What do you know of this deity, Dr. Clark?
Of Sobek? Oh, he's among the oldest deities in the pyramid texts. Described in the walls of the tombs, he was the lord of crocodiles and depicted with a crocodile head. He's just a massively important but very not well-known deity. Ancient sects believe that he created order in the universe and in the world when he arose from the dark waters. He was the creator of the Nile River. And he was associated with fertility, and perhaps as a young woman as yourself, perhaps that is why he came to you in your sleep. That's what the locals would believe. He was revered for his ferocity and quick movements. He's unpredictable, though. Unpredictable deity. Good, bad, black, white, gray, not quite gray. Sometimes associated with chaos. The peoples of Egypt worshipped Sobek in order to appease him and crocodiles in general. He was also to ensure fertility of the peoples and crops. Frequently in these digs, we will find mummified crocodiles that are of all ages and sizes, and they're all related to the worshipping of Sobek. He's related to Seth. You know of Seth, Dr. Goss. His father, Seth, was his father, and he helped birth Horus. He's just a very important deity. And this is the Temple of Sobek. This is the Temple of Sobek. We've never found it till now. We've only heard of such a temple. So would you like to see it? Would you like to see it, Dr. Goss?
More than anything, honestly. Let's go.
May we accompany you?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. And as she says that, the wind picks up. Oh, there's not supposed to be any storms today. Interesting. Please come down. Get out of the wind. I hope it doesn't rain.
I want to know how they control the crocodiles with their magic.
Ooh. People do not control. Oh, you cannot control a crocodile. No, in the same way you cannot control a snake. A snake does what a snake does. A crocodile is a crocodile.
I don't know about
that. But please, I ask you to be quiet as we enter the temple. It's most beautiful, and she just comes ushering you along. And who takes up the rear?
I'll take up the rear.
I'm probably the slowest.
Well, you know what? I will give you both a chance. Both of you do a listen roll.
Is it wide enough that I can once again loop my arm under hers and
you can help me along.
Yeah.
The walkway down. The doorway, no, but the walkway down for sure.
I don't want her to stumble.
Oh, of course, with her terrible shoes that she's probably wearing.
She's hard of hearing, so.
He said you have terrible shoes.
Did you do a listen roll, Tom? Or
oh, I'm sorry. Listen.
Sorry, listen roll. Yes.
Yeah, I'm too busy fussing with her. I got a 96.
That's fine. That's fine. Dame Agatha, you can do a listen roll as well.
Yeah, let's have some fun and spend 37 luck points to make it a normal success.
It's like you're not going to see this character again.
I want to hear
that's some
what's
fun
going on here.
You have no plans for this character in the future, do you?
I had no plans at the start.
Okay, these damn one-shot type games. Okay, 30. So how good is your success with a
just regular
success?
Barely, yeah. She is a flat 20 listen.
Okay, I will tell you in a few minutes then. You proceed down the walkway down to the temple, and the archway is like depicted. They've cleaned it off very well. And there's alligators, and there's reeds, and there's there's water, and the symbol's water, and female human, female Egyptian females, Egyptian humans. No, Egyptian women. That's the word. Around the outskirts around the temple. This is like when I couldn't remember the name of the bottom of the ship basement. And
Yeah.
they, you pass through, and inside it is a pristine temple. It is circular in nature, and the insides, they've cleaned off the floor, and it's blue like water. And there's a rim around it that is green like the reeds. And in this, there's a central dais that's round in the center, that's raised up about chest height. And in the middle of it, there's a round area with a hole in the middle. And she goes, we aren't quite sure what that is for yet. And she starts describing all the scenery along the insides of the walls, and it's like history of Egypt, and it's crocodiles, and it's people, and it's fertile land, and crops growing, and there seems to be some sort of a point where there's nothing, and then there's water, and dark water, and creatures, and growth and fertility. It's all Sobek. It's all Sobek, and then against the far wall, there's a statue that is 10 feet tall of a man, shirtless, loincloth, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the proper term is. Long legs, feet that have alligator toes, and a long snouted alligator snout in the front. It's in perfect condition, perfectly painted. And he's very regal and standing, looming over what you see before you. And
Are there hieroglyphics that Dr. Goss can read?
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Goss, do you have a role for that, or is it just
I do.
Is a skill? Excellent.
Yeah. Woo! 14 under my ancient Egyptian. So that's a hard success. And
Hard
it wouldn't be
success.
expensive to make it extreme if I want to really whip things out.
Hard success. Well, you and Dr. Clark both start fussing over the hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
And you're able to determine, looking at it, that this is not only a temple, this is actually claims to be a tomb as well.
Hmm.
And it is beyond a temple. It is a temple where people would come to worship Sobek and perform certain rituals. And there is reference to the dark waters of life.
Right. Is there an aroma down here in this temple? Does it smell dusty or sandy or just dry, or is it a little floral?
Dusty? There is almost an oily smell the longer you are here. It's almost like a vegetative smell. Like humus, if you know what that is.
Mhm.
Not everybody does. Not hummus.
Not hummus.
Oh.
Hummus doesn't have a smell, just a wonderful taste.
Smelled hummus. Dr. Clark, have you dated this site at all, or have an idea what pharaoh or dynasty was responsible for it?
She says it's ancient, and and she gives you the I don't have the actual term for you, but yeah, it meets with it's a very ancient tomb, and it may have been here prior to some of the burial sites that have been built.
Almost as though the valley was designed around it instead of the other way around.
Potentially. And with that, you hear from behind you, and this is the thing, Dame Agatha, you heard, but you didn't put two and two together. You heard the sound of another vehicle pulling up as you were entering the turn, but you didn't put two and two together because it was just like the sound of a crunching of tires. And once you hear this, you realize what it was. And in walks someone behind you and says, "All right, everyone, thank you for being here. Please take a seat." And in walks our good friend, Mr. Faisal. And behind him, with a cane, using the cane he was using before, and you don't really have to roll it now because you're looking for it. The cane actually has an alligator head, which you hadn't noticed before. And in walks, of course, our good friend, Mr. Ptolemy. And Mr. Ptolemy is very, very decrepit looking right now. He is not the young man you saw before because the treatments he was receiving were only stopgap measures.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
And
run out of mummy fingers?
I've run out of a lot of things in my life, and life is not one of them. And he comes in and he stumbles forward. And Faisal is carrying, of course, holding, of course, a pistol. And he's waving it around. Everyone take a seat, if you will.
There's not any place to sit.
Oh, the area around the blue area that's greenery has like places to sit. Like you could sit on it. It's raised up a little bit.
And the circular depression in the dais, how big is that? How big around? Uh-huh.
Yeah, like
All
big,
right.
big enough. And it on his, he's wearing a backpack, like a haversack or a shoulder sack. And you see, as he's pointing the pistol at you, Ptolemy goes behind you here, and he zips open it and pulls out this
The
urn,
alabaster.
the alabaster amphora.
Hmm.
And he sets it down on the ground and he stands up. Excuse me. And Faisal hands the pistol to Mr. Ptolemy. Says, I think it's time this went back where it belongs. And he starts walking towards the center of the dais. Well, Ptolemy is rickety, but pointing the pistol towards you all.
I mean, yeah, we haven't tried to stop you. There's no need to aim a gun at us.
What's going on?
Faisal says, this belongs in this temple. And Dr. Clark says, that's the stolen urn, the stolen amphora.
If you just discovered this place, how would you know there was anything stolen?
No, this was here when we opened the temple a month ago. This was present. This was present.
And
it
somebody on
disappeared
your
the next
crew works for the Black Sands and stole it.
Oh, the
And
Black Sands, they are a
ended up in
scourge.
Lawrence's hands.
Lawrence?
Oh, the first fellow, you heard, the fellow who got murdered aboard.
Oh.
And now, but I don't understand, Faisal, what you intend to do with this valuable ancient artifact. You're going to drop it in a hole?
And he's walking towards the dais, like the raised dais in the middle of the circle. And he's walking towards it with the urn. This is where it belongs.
Mm-hmm.
He places it in the dais. And as you see, there's a little round bit and a spiky bit in the bottom. It fits right in. And he stands back and he says, you will all witness the rebirth of Sobek.
Are you sure that's a terribly good idea?
I'm just going to shoot Demetrius.
Roll. I was expecting that.
I got 35 out of 60.
That's a hit.
It's gonna be real loud and
Oh, yeah. That'd be deafening.
8 points of damage.
8 points of damage.
Ooh.
Okay. Well,
And I assume he at least drops the gun.
he's an old man, and I'm going to roll for his. Oh yeah. He drops. He falls back, drops the pistol out of his hand. He's pistol out of his hand, and he barely keeps himself standing up with his cane. And he says, "My pistol." He's trying to dive for it, but he can't dive for anything because he's 85.
I'm going to run for the pistol.
Okay. You're actually closer. I was thinking of where you were all situated. You are closer.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely you can push your way past you should probably roll a strength roll because what's his name is in your way.
Faisal. Okay.
Faisal's trying to
Yeah, I'm
linebacker.
gonna like while he's doing that, I'm gonna run towards Faisal and just like push him off balance, like
Go
if I
for
can
it.
try and knock him over.
Yeah. I got a 33 out of 35 on my strength, so I passed.
You knock him aside, and then Marcia, you can he's not expecting you coming at him. You don't have to roll. You can literally just give him a shove, and he goes flat ass on the floor. So he's down. Go ahead, Clyde, roll your dex, I would say would be reasonable for you to grab the pistol before the old man gets it.
Oh, that was
He's
me.
in Casey.
Oh,
That was
Casey,
me.
Casey, yes, sorry.
Yeah. All right, good. I got a decent deck. That is a regular.
All right, you're able to push him out of the way, like with sidearm him, and you grab the pistol. The 85-year-old man goes down, and you have the pistol, and you have that control.
Take that, old man.
Okay.
And I kind of like step away from the old man, but I turn the gun on Faisal.
I also turn towards Faisal. The guy.
Okay.
During all this madness, I'm going to lift the amphora before it fills with black water or something.
Okay. You lift the amphora. So you guys are holding the other two. When you lift the amphora, it's kind of, he put it down and there's a little bit of a twist, so you have to kind of wiggle it to get it loose. When you let it loose, there is a black liquid that is actually coming out of it. So it actually released some black liquid, and black liquid was pouring into the dais. So it doesn't. So it's pouring on the floor. It's pouring in leaks. How old is your character, Dr. Goss?
43.
43. Okay. It spills on your legs, spills on your shoes. That will come to of interest later. The room starts to rumble and shake, and as you watch, I would say that Dame Agatha, you notice, because you're not doing all these other physical things, you notice the statue of Sobek is starting to move.
Oh no.
It's starting to move its arms. It's starting to stretch. Dr. Goss, your character is now 33.
So they have such wonderful moving statues in Egypt. I should have come sooner.
Agatha's like discussing that.
This is
It's like this mop of brown hair comes over my forehead.
Yeah, all of a sudden hair is growing where it used to grow.
wait until they get a load of this in England. They won't believe it.
But the room is starting to shake, and there's bits of rock falling from the ceiling.
Dr. Clark, I say, and I start running amphora forward toward the stairs.
Dr. Clark's like, what is going on? She sees the Sobek statue starting to move and twist, but it's still like the bottom half of it is still adhered and solid. So its arms are moving, and it's opening its mouth in a roar, like a crocodile-like roar of frustration and anger.
Sanity check.
Yep, everybody make a sand check.
Ooh, 16. That's a pass.
Gosh, that's my sanity.
That is a 100. So.
I was a little mad, and I rolled an 85, which is not 100, but
Okay. Those who fail, you lose a significant amount of sand. I would say those who fail, you immediately feel absolutely you don't know what's going on. It's like this is dream world. This is absolute panic, fear, and frustration, and you must leave immediately. You flee. You must flee, and more will come. Those who pass,
You gotta tell me twice.
You don't
She's
have to.
screaming and running.
Yeah, those who pass. It's frightening. It's bad. You don't know what's going on. You probably also want to flee, but you don't have to if you don't want to. But bits of rock are falling from the ceiling, and Sobek is roaring in frustration and anger.
Okay. I'm going to run, but I'm going to try and help Ptolemy go because he's still an old man, and I can't leave him behind.
Yeah, I'll help with that too, even though I'm not much of a help.
I have a strength 35, so I'm not much of a help either. So.
You can get Ptolemy up, and you can try to get him towards the door. I would say that our good friend, Mr. Faisal, is scrambling towards the door, abandoning everyone, but he has also failed his sand roll, so he's screaming and screaming in fear. And he's rushing for the door, and anyone who gets in his way, he's just pushing them aside. So, is anyone doing anything other than fleeing?
Yeah, I'm losing my mind, freaking the fuck out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, what happens as you flee? You escape. You can run out the door. You push your way through. Dr. Clark is trying to stay to the very last to try to get information, trying to absorb what's going on. She passed her role, but she's frustrated and confused, and she doesn't know what's going on. She runs to the statue, aka Sobek, with not just reverence, but like scientific interest, and she does not make it out.
Mm.
The rest of you, as you are fleeing, I would say you all make it out. But as you make
How
it
about-
out, there's a
I was just gonna say we run out the door and into her camp. So did they all freak out?
oh the place is collapsing. The people out there don't know what's going on. The winds are whipping up. There's lightning in this. There's a sandstorm rising that wasn't there before. There's lightning flashing in the sky, and the actual area is starting to collapse in upon itself. So
When I make it to the surface, I'm going to look for the heaviest, most substantial looking rock, and I'm going to smash the amphora into it with as much strength as I can muster.
And you can do that. I would say that when you do that, more of the liquid within splashes on you. You're like 28 now. So
Mixed feelings.
mixed
Yeah.
feelings,
But
mixed feelings.
also,
But you have all the knowledge. You have all the
yeah.
knowledge of your
And-
age.
and I've got to keep an eye on what part of this area is collapsing. To the high ground! To the ridge!
I pull the Jeep around, screeching in front of them, and get in.
So Ptolemy is aging. He's aging as you watch. Ptolemy is 100% back to his 85 years old, and he's swearing and swearing. It was all to be. It was all to be. I was to be young again and powerful. And you don't know where Faisal's gone. He's
Right.
vanished off into the crowd. But that's probably the last book he's ever written, you know.
Mhm.
So he's gone, and the ground collapses. Mushroom cloud of smoke or cloud dust. Dr. Clark disappearing among the rubble, and you have then survived.
Sobek
That
into
is
the world.
That is the end, but Sobek is only partly recovered. Sobek is not. You have stopped Sobek from coming back.
Yeah, so
And we'll be arranging for transit that does not involve the Nile River.
You want a
right.
flight. You want a flight out of this place.
Inland and away.
Yes.
It becomes a Ptolemy. Does he dry up like a raisin?
No, he's 85. He's 85 and angry. He's angry.
And running for president.
Yeah, he goes to play some golf.
He will be the leader of the free world in weeks.
Moves to Florida. Damn. I like how all you had to do is push a guy and they messed up their plans. This is the push that shook the world.
I was expecting a push earlier, but so that said, you have stopped what was to be. So that is it.
Excellent.
Good. So
Okay, so yeah,
yes,
reveal
was
to
it
us.
was it the Black Sands that murdered Lawrence?
Black Sands murdered Lawrence. Lawrence purchased from a renegade smuggler the amphora because he just wanted to own something. He wanted to own something. This was something new and stolen from the dig. He purchased it. He purchased it in Giza. He was going to fly out from another place. He was just getting on a ship, sneaking away. It just happened to be heading back in the same direction as where it came from. He didn't know where it came from. He's a dumb collector. Black Sands were actually contracted by Ptolemy to steal this because Ptolemy has been using various ancient Egyptian means of staying young, becoming young over time. But with the revolution happening in Egypt, access to the mummy dust, as you want to call it, whatever it is, has been cut off over time. So his ability to maintain his youth has been dying. He heard about this amphora, and in some ancient texts he had read, the black liquid that was in the amphora actually was to be used at a special certain point in the future to bring Sobek back to life. Because that was Sobek, the statue is Sobek's body. He was trapped in it. He was going to try to use that amphora to make himself permanently young. But it was stolen from him. And when he found out that it was stolen, he contracted Black Sands to steal it again from the ship and transport it back to Luxor. Because he believed that he could not only become youthful again, he'd be a full-on servant of Sobek. Sobek would be the master, and he would be the servant and youthful forever. It was simply, he wanted youth.
But what about the kid with the backpack?
It was a ruse. If they had have actually found the backpack, it contained just a marble kind of fake amphora, just something they picked up at a local shop that was put on the kid. The kid thought he was stealing the actual amphora, but the amphora had been removed from the ship earlier. When the ship, if you had have questioned some of the porters, you would have found out that a ship had actually come alongside and left quickly. The amphora was given to someone and they took it off. They took off with the ship, and the kid thought he had something of importance. He was hiding in the bottom of the ship. So he had a fake amphora.
Not a real crocodile.
His face was glazed over when he jumped.
Yeah, there was some magic involved in controlling him because Ptolemy actually did have some access to some mind-altering control spells.
Yeah.
Hence Langley just being like, I'm here, I'm Langley, I'm the guy of importance. He was controlling Langley all along.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, Faisal is just a guy that used to be a cop who's just trying to solve mysteries, trying to make money, trying to work for this person. Faisal's just a guy making money. There's nothing mysterious about Faisal other than he's crooked.
Was there something actually in Ptolemy's trunk?
Books.
So it wasn't.
Books on Crocodile.
They'd already gotten the amphora off.
It was off. When the murder happened, the amphora was dropped onto the boat. And
That's what I thought. What about the other boat I saw? The second one that went downriver.
That's just a ruse.
Looks like they were taking something.
Yep.
They were
herring.
tricking us. All right.
So
Well, thank you for running that. Are you going to publish this one, or have you already?
I haven't yet, but I'll write it up.
Cool.
I think we showed you where people can go astray, if nothing else.
That's why I like to run them.
Our players included Keith Craig, David Gassaway, Troy Wildryer, Dave Shiflett, and myself, with Sean Liddle as the keeper of arcane lore. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show is provided by our patrons who are listed in the closing credits. If you'd like to show us your appreciation, please visit our Patreon page, or you can use the thanks button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Thom Raley, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.